Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. This is your boy Kofi Manuel. You can also call me Manuel. Alright, so today we are here for another tutorial on HTML. So we are going to combine HTML and CSS to build a very nice looking login page. So without much ado, let's get started. Before we start, please make sure that you subscribe, you hit on the notification bell icon, and also share with a friend. Please comment in the section if should in case you come across anything that you don't understand. In this lesson, it is best that you practice along. So anything I do, you make sure that you also do the same thing and make sure you understand each and every step of the tutorial. Alright, so today we are going to work on, just like I said earlier on, we are going to work on this very yes, we need to at the end of the day get something like this. This is the idea. We need to get a login page that looks just like this. Yeah, we are going to use HTML and CSS to acquire this very specific look. So let's get started. Alright, so this is what we do, like we've always learned here. You have to make sure that before you start every project, you have a folder set up, okay? You have to always make sure that your workspace is well set for the project. So I'll go on then. I'll use Ctrl+Shift+N to create a new folder, and I will name it project 2. I'll name it project 2. Good. Then I will go into my VS Code, as it is the text editor that I normally use for coding. You can also download Notepad++ or any other text editor that goes well or you enjoy coding with. I am more fan of VS Code. Alright. So inside my VS Code, I will go to File, then I will move to Open Folder, then I'll navigate to my desktop. From the desktop, I will then select Project 2. So this is Project 2. I already have one there, but this is Proj CT2. Let's put it that way. Alright, so I'll select Project 2 here, and I am good to go. Okay. So because it is an HTML work that we are going to create, we need to first of all create or make sure that our boilerplate is what? Ready. As I have already been doing, this time we are going to start right from the onset. Okay, so we learn everything together. So I am going to first of all create a new file, Ctrl+N, Ctrl+S, then we'll open it to this very place. Then I will save it as index.html. After saving it, you could see that the index.html file has changed into this. Alright, so after it is changed to the index.html, you can click on this side or toggle on it, then it will hide the workspace. Alright, so I want it to look like this. Then I am going to type my doc type. So like we have learned already that anytime you say doc type, what you are trying to tell the browser is that you are using HTML5, which is the modern HTML version. But because of time's sake, I'm going to use the shortcut by typing exclamation mark and hitting on enter, so that I'll get a boilerplate. If you don't know how I did it, I just said it. You press what? Exclamation enter. That is after you have saved your file name. If the file name is not saved, I'm sorry, it wouldn't bring this whole thing. And I think this shortcut is basically for people that uses VS Code. It might not work in other text editors. They might also have a different way of having the boilerplate set up without having typed all this. So I will explain to you. Okay, so the doc type being the RPA one, it tells the browser we are writing in HTML5, okay, and HTML5 is the latest standard version of HTML. You go down to, we have the HTML lang here, and the HTML lang also tells the browser that our language is being what, or our content is in English, okay, which is good for accessibility and SEO. SEO means search engine optimization, for Google and other search engines to be able to crawl our website or our web page. That is why we use the HTML lang, then we set it to English. If you are writing in a different language, you definitely set it to that very language. All right. Then we also have the head, where the head tag contains metadata. This very one, it contains metadata or meta information about the web page that we are building. This stuff isn't visible on the page, but helps browsers understand how to handle this whole document or the HTML document. Okay, all right, so let's continue with the tutorial. Now that we know that the head inside has the meta chassis, which is normally set to UTF-8, meaning that your website can handle all standard character set. Okay, so when you set it to that, you'll be able to view letters, symbols, emojis, and other character encodings. That's what the UTF-8 means. Then we have the meta name, the viewport. This very viewport makes the website responsive on mobile. It sets the weight of the site to match the screen. Okay, so anytime you see the viewport, that is what makes your site responsive. Okay, allowing your site to fit well on all screens. Okay, all right. So let's continue to the work now. I will move quickly into the title document and I will type login because that is the title. That is what will show inside the tab of our work. I will save it then. If you don't have this extension, kindly download it. The name is Live Server. Okay, after installing Live Server from the extension tab here, then you would see it here. Okay, or better still, you can go back to the folder where your project files are, then you double click on this very one. So I'm going to double click on it, then it's going to open inside my web browser. So here you could see that we have what? Login. So that is the title that we set inside our document, this very title. That is what shows up there. All right, so we will then add what we call the style. Because we are going to add CSS, we need to have an external style link or a code within our HTML that would fetch our styles from the CSS file so that it would be able to apply to the HTML document that we have created. So I'll go on and save it as style sheet. A style sheet. Then you say ref. You say style.css. You can name it any name, but make sure that when you are writing it here, it gets the same name. Then I'll go back into my folder and create a new file. Then this very file, I'm going to save it style, exactly the name I used there, .css. So the style.css gives us a CSS file where we will write our CSS code. So now this very one links this very one in the same code. All right, and it is always set inside the head. That is where the metadata is. Okay, so let's continue with what we are doing. Then I will quickly move into the body. All right, so inside the body, I'm going to have a div class of form group. So the div simply means a division. So we use it to group elements like images, forms, whatever. The div is what we use in grouping it. So I'll give it a div, then a label for password. So this set is form to password. Anytime you write label for password, it is for what? Password. Wait, let's that's the very first one supposed to be before we get the password, you have to get a username, right? So we are going to say username. Then I will close it, then write the username here. Then you close it with the name label. All right. Then you come down here, then input type. What is the type of input? So the input type is more like asking the computer that this is the type of input. I am inputting a text, I am inputting a password, I am adding, maybe I am uploading a file. This is an audio. That is what the input type is all about. So input type, we are going to write text there because that place we would need what? Text to be written there. We are taking data from the user, and what type of data are we taking? A text data. So that is what the input type means. So input type, text. The ID or identity, we say username. What type of text or input are we taking? Then the name, I will set it to username. Then I will close it. Alright, so I am done with the very first layer. I will go down. I'll explain, don't worry, I'll explain everything to you afterwards. So we have the div class again, another form group. Then inside this form group, a label of what? Inside this form group, we have a label. And this label is for password. Alright, so I will be doing my indentation as I move on. Label will be password. Alright, come down here, input type. So what type of input are we taking from the user now? Is what? Password. Then the type is password. Then also the ID is password, and the name should also be password. Alright, so we have that side to nailed. Then we come back here, then we write what? Button. So the button type, we say button type. What type of button do you want? A submit button. So we write submit in here. Then inside we say a login. So after we are done with our password and username, we hit on login. So that is the button type. The type of button is a submit button. That is what we are looking at now. Okay. Alright, so let me explain to you quickly how this very field means. So we have the div, which we have inside the div, we have the label, which is username. So the label connects the for username connects the label with the input field, and the label describes the input. Okay, so what input are we taking? We are taking username. Then this label for this very label for, like I said, thus connects the label with the input field. Okay, this very field. Are we getting it? Then we have the ID, right? The ID where we have username. That one is used by both HTML and CSS, and even sometimes JavaScript to identify that very input. Okay, then we have the name here, where the name is what? Username. So the name is used when sending the form data. Are we getting it? When we are sending the data, that is what will be used. It is the same thing here. Okay, what is up there is just the same thing, just as this field is for the password. Are we getting it? This field is for the password. So just like the username, but the type password only hides the characters and also uses dot and asterisk. Okay, so instead of writing a normal text like in here, this time it is going to hide everything that we will type in there. So let's try and open our project, refresh, and see what we see there. So you could see that here we have the username, where I could even quickly write Kofi or Manuel. Then let's try something at the password. You see, anything I type then changes to asterisk or dots. Okay, so that is the input type. If I was to change this very input, let me preview it. They show the preview within. Okay, so good. Let me show the preview inside here. So assuming that I want here to even use a normal text, this is what I am going to do. I will come here, then the type I will only write maybe text. I'll write text here, and automatically everything that I type in here would change to normal text. But immediately that I change this to password, everything I type in there will turn to what? Password. It is very simple. It works just like that. Okay, so if that is how it's supposed to be. So assuming that you even enter someone's site, and for people that normally leaves their email and password inside and save it in the browser for educational purpose. Okay, assuming that I have my email in here, which is always visible, I have my password set here. I can only right click and go to inspect within the browser, and the input type I would only turn it to text. Then everything within the password field is not going to show. So please, it's not advisable, especially if you are not using the computer by yourself, or it's not, something that is like a personal thing. Don't go to the cafe and save your password in the browser. Someone can just edit the source code, or like use this as I just did, and have access to your password. I did this for the purpose of education. All right, so let's continue with where we left off. Now we have the login button. Okay, so the login button, like I told you earlier, is just a button that submit what our form for new users to sign up. All right, so let's go on and also have one last link outside or beneath the login. Okay, so beneath the login. So I'll come down here. I'll use a div class, and that class I am going to say register what link. All right, so that will be then I would give it not registered. I'm just asking a question. Okay, then a question mark comes. Then I'll use aref. Aref is an attribute. A is an anchor tag for links, and the ref is just an attribute that helps us to add a link. So where the hash is, anything I'm doing, you would see it here. Okay, where the hash is, it is where you put in your URL. Okay, so I would say create an account. All right, so this really helps in coding. Everything you do here appears live. Okay, you don't have to even refresh it. It appears live here. So let's see something. Assuming that I add Google, www.google.com here, clicking on it will take me to Google, but you see that it has added Google. Because of this is on a local server, I wouldn't be able to view Google, but should in case we go into our browser, we refresh that one to okay, I don't have internet. All right, it would have opened us to Google. Then let's see something inside here. We could have also written or added an attribute called target. Okay, so I would have said targets, then I would say underscore blank. So this is what happens if I use a target underscore blank and I come back to my page. This time when I click on it, it is going to open on a new empty tab. Are we getting it? It is going to open on a blank tab. But assuming that I remove the target here, that's very attributes, target attributes there. Good. It is not going to, after refreshing it, it will open within the same. Are we getting it? So there. All right. So when you use hash in between here, it means that when you click on the link, it wouldn't take you anywhere. That is a hash. That's what it means. It's like an empty link. Okay. So refresh, it wouldn't take you anywhere. I hope it's well understood. Okay. So now that we have this set, it is time for us to go into our CSS and have some styles applied to this very HTML document to make sure that it looks very good. All right, so let's quickly dive into it and make sure that we have our styles, well styled, to make sure that the HTML looks better. All right, so first of all, we are going to give it a comment. So I would say apply this to the general body. All right, so then it turns to what? A comment. Sorry, I got something wrong. No, the forward slash has to come first this way. It has to always turn to green. All right, so now we have what? We have a comment. Let me push this here so that we have enough space to write our CSS. All right, so I'm going to give it a target of body. We've already learned about targets. Then I'll give it a property of font family, and the font family I'm going to set it to Arial, then also sans serif. Okay, all right, so that's what we will have for this. We'll go down, then another property display, then we say flex. All right, then we go down justify content. I would say let's center all the content. Then another thing that I will add will be align items. Okay, so items, I want it to also be aligned to center. Please, you could be watching the other end. Everything I do, it would take an effect on the other side. Everything I do, let me take it a little down. Everything I do would be taking effect on this very side, so be watching. All right, so the align center, then I will give it a height of 100 VH. Then let's give it a margin of 0, then a background color. I'll give it like ash. Oh, let's see, F5, F5, F5. All right, so this will give us a very nice off-white color. All right, so this will be for the body. Let's move into the other section. So I'll go to the login container. So we already have, when you look up here, we have the, okay, I think we left something in there. That is the login container. Okay, so let's quickly add it to it so that it wouldn't be left out. We left something in here, so we were supposed to have a div class here, then we set it to login container. Okay, then we close that div. Okay, before we come to the form. So let me get rid of this for now. Then come to alright. So this form, it should wrap the entire form. And this has to come here. Alright, this is how it's supposed to be. Alright, so we are then supposed to have another div under this. Yep, then the form comes here. This is how it's supposed to be like. Okay, well, yes, this is how it's supposed to be like. So we have the div class container up here, then we have the form. All right, so let's go back to our code. We have the div container, and inside the div container we will set our code. So it's gonna be, give it a background color. I'll say white. Then padding is to 30 pixels. You all know what padding is, okay? So for the sake of this tutorial, I think some people would still want to know what the padding is and all that. So I've already let me explain this. So the display flex or whatever we have in here, make sure that what is syntax form both horizontally and what vertically on the page using what we call the Flexbox. Okay, this is the Flexbox. So the align center, the justify center, the height, all those things, make sure that the page is well centered both horizontal and vertically within the middle of the workspace or the center of the page. Okay, then the margin 0 also removes the browser or the default margin. By default there are, I think, 22 or 11 or 55 margins by default. So when you set it to 0, the same as the padding, it removes all those default ones. Okay, so the login container too, I've already explained to you that on the normal vein, when we are coding and we want to target a specific element within HTML, we can give it a class. Then once there is a class given in the HTML, targeting it inside CSS, it comes with dot, then the name of the class that you gave, then open curly bracket, the property and the value. Okay, all right. So the padding here, 30 pixels. Just add space inside the form to keep the content from touching the edges. So you could see that the form isn't touching the edges anymore. Are we getting it? We could see in between here, it's not touching the edges. There is some white background here. The form isn't touching the edges. That is what it does. All right, so let's continue to the other ones. All right, so the container, I will go on. The container will go on, then I will give it a border. Okay, or before I give the container just the border shadow, sorry, the box shadow, let me give it a border radius. All right, and the border radius, I will set it to 8 pixels. All right, so this is the border radius. So the border radius only gives what? Some curves on the edges of the border. Okay, the container. So let me make it very simple. The login container, this is a container. Let me do it this way. This is the container. From here to here is the container. Okay, and the border is here, the 4 ends of the container. Okay, then it says that the radius, okay, should be what? 8 pixels. Let's say I change it to 15 pixels. See how? Okay, let me change it to 50 pixels. You see the way it has been shaped. So that is the border radius. That's what the border radius what does. Please, I hope you are following. Then we have the box shadow. We know that box has what? Shadows. Okay, so the shadow, every box has about 4 different what sizes. We have here, this side, and this very side. So the very first 0 that I am writing is for what? One of each side. Then I'll go on a space 2 pixels. That 2 pixels is for the down. So probably the very first one, let's give it a figure, then see where that one would have been, which means the very first one is for the right, the second one is for the down, the third one will definitely be for the left, and the last one might be for the up. So that's how it is. So I would change this one back to 0. Please, if the figure is 0, you don't have the pixels because the number is 0. Okay, all right, so 2 pixels, then I'll give it a 10 pixel. Are we getting it? I'll give it a 10 pixel. Then after I've given a 10 pixel. This is how it is, a 10 pixel. Then I would go on then give an RGBA, okay, red, green, blue, and I don't know about the A. All right, so you can go and search about what the A does. All right, then inside I'll write 0, 0, 0, 0.1. Then I will close it. So this reduces the blurriness, okay, the shadow blurriness of the shadow. All right, we added a box shadow and we added that thing to make sure that it looks good. Okay, so it only adds a nice shadow to give, I mean, this very card like kind of floating effect. Okay, so you could see that it's like the card is floating. All right, so you could change this to 6. The more the number increases, the deeper the shadow becomes. Okay, so it's best you normally use 0.1 as the last figure. The next, I would give it a width, and the width will be 300 pixels. So the box width, I've set it to 300 pixels, and you could see from the side that it just stretched the box from the normal to 300 pixels. All right, so let's go into targeting a different one to do. So this time we are going to the form group. So inside our HTML we have form what group. This is the form group. The password, the username, that's the form group. This one's all right. That's what we are targeting now. Our curly brackets inside a property. So I'm going to give the property of margin button. So margin button, I am sure by now you know where it is going to have effect, right? Then I'll set it to 20 pixels. Right, so you see that I have given margin between all the forms. Okay, we have about 3, right? Inside here we have form group. This is a form group. We have 1, 2 in the password, and yes, so it has given this very one form group username gives a button margin, a space down here, and the password one to gives a margin below, and that is what we are seeing. Okay, good. All right, so let's continue. All right, so we will target a different thing, and we are going to target the label. So you see, because we did not give a class to the label, or the label wasn't a class, I didn't add any dots. Are we getting it? So the display of the label items, I am going to display it in block. Please see the difference. Are we getting it? In block. So this time every item is on a different line. Are we getting it? Item is on a different line. All right, then I will set a margin button, and the button to, I'm going to give it a 5 pixels. All right, so you could see that we have added a little bit of space in between the labels, and the labels are the name. So in between this and this, these are the labels. Beneath the label there is a 5 pixel of margin. Then I'm going to increase the font weight. Font size is different from font weight. Please note the weight of the font, how heavy the font is. I will say it is bold, so that it will bolden this. You can even add, I can add font style, italic, and it will italize it. Okay, but we are not italicing it. All right, let's go down to a different section. This time we are going to the input type. All right, so we have the input opened, and inside the input all right, so we have the input type, which is what? Text. Then we have the input, another type, we have the password, right? Then after this, okay, so this sets both the two. Then I am going to give it a width of 100%. Then I will give it a padding 10 pixel. Oh, this has to be like this, sorry. So I had a typo there. So let's continue. I would also give it a border 1 pixel and it should be solid, and a color of 3Ds. Okay, then let's give it a border radius so that we have some radius, some nice curves at the border. This one I'll give it just 4 pixels. Please, I hope you are following. Then the box sizing, I will set the box size into border box. Okay, so we are done with that one. Let's continue to the button. So we are now coming to style this very well. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so inside the button, I'm going to give it a width 100%. That stretches it to the the length of the container. Padding 10 pixels. Then I'll give it a background color. The background color, let me give it green. Okay. Then the color is the color of the text. I'll give it white. The border radius as usual. Let's give it 4 pixels here. I got the border wrong, right? Okay. Then you could see that there is already some black on line on, right? Okay. So I would say border radius, I give it 4 pixels. Then border, I will set the style to none. It removes the color black by default on it. Then I would also set the cursor, that is the mouse pointer, anytime it hits on its 2-pointer. So anytime you get there, it turns to a pointer. Alright. Then I'll give it a font size like 16 pixels. Good. So that is for the button. Let's give it a hover. Okay, so button is to hover. Hover is whenever the mouse moves on the button. What should it come on? So I would say that a background color is to, should I use green, light coral? Let's see how this coral color looks like. So this is how we get in it when you hover on it. Then the last one I would work on will be the register what link. This is the very one. So that one too, I'm going to give it a text, and I will align the text in the center. Then after I've aligned the text, I will give it a margin top. Why margin top? Because top here there is no space, so I'll give it a margin 12, then I'll give it like 20 pixels. That will give it a very nice what margin. Then I'll go and create another dot what register, and this time I'm targeting the link, register link. A is the anchor, that is the link. All right, then I will set the color to green, and the text decoration, that is the line under it, I'll set it to none so that the line will disappear. Are you getting it? Then the last one I would work on dot register link is to hover. Anytime that you hover on the register link, what should you get? I'm thinking of a text decoration. So we remove the text decoration by default, and I'm saying that this time when you hover on it, the text should be what? Underlined. So anytime you hover on it, the text underlines. So this is how the entire project looks like. We started from working with HTML files, making sure that our HTML files are ready. We came down to our CSS, making sure that everything is well started. And now we can go into our work within the browser and refresh it, and we have this very nice login page built. So this is how a login page could be built using HTML and CSS. Please do well to subscribe to my channel. Make sure that a friend gets to know about this very channel. We are going to work on other projects as we move along. Thank you so much for watching this video. Until we meet again, bye.